I want to read from the holy word of Adonai, from the prophet Ezekiel 14 through 16, a warning to the prophets and the people. Then certain of Israel's leaders came to me, and while they were sitting with me, the word of Adonai came to me. Human being, these men have taken their idols into their hearts. Now we know what that means. When you have the statues, the crosses, the kippas, the artifacts, the beads, the rosaries, all of those carved crafts that you use in order to channel your faith. It's not just in the carved stone or wood, steel, silver, and gold, stones. No. You have taken the idol in your heart, so you may not even have a cross around your neck, a kippah on your head, a rosary on your wrist. But you've taken the idol into your heart. You've made God something that has been fashioned, crafted, carved by your doing. Thus, setting in front of themselves the stumbling block that leads to sin. That means Torahlessness, for those of you who actually don't know what that word means. Missing the mark of Torah, God's code and regulations, his instructions. Romans 8 will give you a better understanding of that. I suggest you read it. Thus, setting in front of himself the stumbling block that leads to sin. Now he said, should I let them consult me at all? Therefore speak to them and tell them that Adonai Elohim says, everyone in the house of Israel who takes his idols into his heart, thus setting in front of himself the stumbling block that leads to sin, and then comes to the prophet, I myself, Adonai, will answer him in a manner suited to his many idols. And you are afraid of him and her and they and them and whatever other pronouns you want to use. But you lost your fear of God. God goes, I'm going to come and take care of it personally myself. In order to grab hold of the house of Israel in their hearts, since through their idols they have fallen away from me. Have you fallen away from him through the idols? What's your idol? It might be the building you go to on Sunday you call a church. Or it might be that synagogue on Friday. It might be a madras or a mosque. It might be a Buddhist temple. What's your idol? Is it the book, but not the author of the book? Therefore say to the house of Israel that Adonai Elohim says, repent, teshuvah in Hebrew. Turn yourselves away from your idols. Turn your face away from all your disgusting practices. He finds them disgusting. Somebody once said deplorable. For everyone, whether from the house of Israel or a foreigner living in Israel, who separates himself from me and takes his idols into his heart, money, fame, brands, your name, thus setting in front of himself the stumbling block that leads to sin. Nobody did it, you did it. And then comes to the prophet, asking him to consult me for him. I myself, Adonai, will answer him. Have they ever come to you? I know they've come to me, pastor, prophet, minister, would you pray for me? Would you consult God for me? How can I consult and pray for you when you've set an idol in your heart? You've put up a block, a fortress, an obstacle in between you and God. The Lord said, I myself, Adonai, will answer him. I will answer him. No matter about the prophet praying for you, interceding, I'm going to come and answer you myself. and I will set my face against that person, make him a warning sign and an example, and cut him off from my people. Then you will know that I am Adonai. Oh, he's got a plan for you, and it's not just not to harm you. He's got a plan because his first plan is that his will is done, that his word does not return void. You might be void, but never the Lord. Get out of the way. You should fear the Lord. You've lost your fear of God. Now, whenever a prophet is enticed into speaking a word, it will be I, Adonai, who will have enticed that prophet. I will stretch out my hand over him and destroy him from among my people Israel. The prophets will bear the guilt for their sins. Oh, yes. You know the type. You've heard them. You've watched them on television. You attend many of their churches, their buildings. They're your rabbis, many of them. They're your pastors, so many of them. They're your gurus, your shamans, your mentors. Oh, yes. And you followed them away from God, away from his Torah, away from his Spirit. And you, those prophets who dare to speak in his name and not speak his name properly and give the words from his mouth, not their mouth, those prophets will bear the guilt for their sins. The sin of the prophet will be the same as the sin of the inquirer. So that the house of Israel will no longer wander away from me or defile themselves with all their crimes. Rather, they will be my people, and I will be their God. You see, there are those that will lead you away from God. They will lead you to them, their organization, their denomination, their religious system, their administration, but not the Holy Spirit, not the Ruach HaKodesh. Israel will no longer wander away from me or defile themselves with all their crimes. Rather, they will be my people, and I will be their God, says Adonai Elohim. The word of Adonai came to me, human being. When a land sins against me, its food supply, sending its famine and eliminating both its humans and its animals, even if these three men were in it. Who? Noach, Daniel, and Eof, what you call Job. They would, by their righteousness, save only themselves, say Adonai Elohim. Even if these three righteous men, who I favored, should intercede for you, it would do you no good. It'll do them good, but not you. I've set my face against you. If I unleash wild beasts on the land, and they kill its children and desolate it, so that no one can pass through because of the animals, even if these three men were in it, as I live, says Adonai Elohim, they would save neither son nor daughters. Only they themselves would be saved, and the land would remain barren. There is a judgment coming. There is a judgment coming. And you should know from the cycles of the scripture in the Torah that God always brings judgment. Surely after it, deliverance, but judgment comes first. If I bring the sword down on that land, war. Let the sword pass through the land so that I eliminate both its humans and its animals. Even if these three men were in it, as I live, says Adonai Elohim, they would save neither sons nor daughters. Only they themselves would be saved. If I bring plague into the land, pour out my fury on it and bloodshed, so that I eliminate both its humans and its animals. Even if Noach, Daniel, and Eof were in it, as I live, says Adonai Elohim, they would neither save a son nor a daughter. They would only save themselves by their righteousness. For here is what Adonai Elohim says. Even if I inflict my 4 dreadful judgments on Jerusalem: sword, famine, wild animals, and plagues, to eliminate both its humans and its animals. Read your history and see where this has happened. There will still be left a remnant in it to be brought out, including both sons and daughters. When they come out to you and you see their way of life and how they act, then you will be consoled over the calamity I have brought upon Jerusalem, over everything I have done to it. Yes, they will console you. When you see their way of life and how they act, you will understand that it was not without good reason that I did what I did in Jerusalem. In other words, I will be justified in what I've done. And when you see, by hindsight, you will know that God is just. So many say, God, how can you let this happen? God, why did he do this? Give it time. Wait for it. Wait for it. Your sin, your rebellion, your pride, your debauchery, your neglect and rejection. The word of Adonai came to me, human being. Why should wood from a grapevine be better than some other kind of wood, than some other branch that one might find among the trees of the forest? Its wood can't be used to make anything, not even a pin on which to hang a pot. So now it's thrown into the fire as fuel, good for nothing. The fire consumes both ends of it, and the middle of it is singed. Its usefulness now for making something, when it was whole, it was good for nothing. So how much less, when the fire has consumed it and it is singed, will it be useful for making something? Adonai Elohim says this: like wood from the vine among the trees of the forest, which I consign to the fire as fuel. So I give those living in Jerusalem. I will set my face against them. They may have escaped one fire, but the fire will consume them yet. When I set my face against them, you will know that I am Adonai. I will make the land desolate because they have dealt so treacherously, says Adonai Elohim. Look at the world. Look in history. Look at the present conditions. It's in the news. You just leave God out of the reasons for the fires, the desolation, the plagues, the terrorist attacks, the swords, the enemy nations. The word of Adonai came to me, human being. Make Jerusalem realize how disgusting her practices are. No amount of makeup, weaves and dreads and beads, no amount of prosthetics, injections, Botox, and silicone, no amount of clothes or fashion, exercise or fitness. You are disgusting, says Adonai. Say that Adonai Elohim is telling Jerusalem, by origin and birth, you are of the land of the Kiani. Your father was an Emori. Your mother was a Hittite. As for your birth, on the day you were born, nobody cut your umbilical cord, washed you in water to clean you off, rubbed salt on you, or wrapped you in a cloth. No swaddling baby in a manger here. No one seeing you had enough pity on you to do any of these things for you. No one had compassion on you. Instead, you were thrown into an open field in your own filth on the day you were born. A lot of you beat your chest, but you've forgotten where you come from. The rest of the story, your story. I passed by you in that filth. I saw you there wallowing in your own blood. And as you lay in your blood, I said to you, live! Yes, I said to you, as you lay in your blood, live! I will increase your numbers, just like the plants growing in the field. And you did increase. You developed. You reached puberty. Your breast appeared. Your hair grew long. But you were naked and exposed. Again, I passed by you. I looked at you. I saw that your time had come, the time for love. So I spread my cloak over you to cover your private parts, remove your shame and your humiliation. And I entered into a covenant with you, said Adonai Elohim, and you became mine. I am my beloved, and my beloved is mine. Then I bathed you in water, washed the blood off you, anointed you with oils. I also clothed you with an embroidered gown, gave you fine leather and sandals to wear, put a fine linen headband on your head, covered you with silk. This is the real makeover. This is the real pretty woman. This is the real from rags to riches story. This is the real diamond in the rough. I gave you jewelry to wear, bracelets for your hands, a necklace for your neck, a ring for your nose, earrings for your ears, and a beautiful crown for that head. Thus you were decked out. You ever heard that in Scripture? Decked out, it says, in gold and silver. Your clothing was of fine linen, silk, richly embroidered cloth. You ate the finest flour, honey, and olive oil. You grew increasingly beautiful. You were fit to be queen. Your fame spread among the nations because of your beauty, because it was perfect. Due to my having bestowed my own splendor on you, says Adonai Elohim. You've forgotten, so many of you, where you come from. Now that you've got more money than you had 50 years ago. Now that you got more real estate than you had 20 years ago. Now that you got a bigger house or a bigger credit rating, a bigger bank account, you've forgotten where you've come from. Isaiah 58, he rebuked them for that. You've forgotten when you were poor, so don't leave those around you poor. You've forgotten that you were once a foreigner, so take care of the foreigner. You've forgotten what you were like, so take care of your kinsmen. You have forgotten that it's because of me. What did Obama say? You didn't build it. That's right. God did. Give God the glory. Give God the glory. You mention men more than you mention your Father in heaven. A pastor, a priest, a politician, a rabbi, a businessman, a tech guy, but God Adonai is not on your mouth. One man said he had talent on loan from God. The only man I've heard say that. Everybody else talks about their talent. What you've done, self-made man, no such thing. God helps those who help themselves. No such thing. You are helped by God. Your help coming from the Lord. By God, I'm able to leap through this troop, leap through this wall, run and win the battle. It is the Lord that gives you the victory. What can you do without the breath? Did you make that? But you put your trust in your own beauty, your own abilities, and you begin prostituting yourself because of your fame, soliciting everyone, passing by, accepting all comers. You took your clothes and used them to decorate your bright colors, the high places you made for yourself. There, you continue prostituting yourself, your name, your brand, your beauty, your image, your body. Such things shouldn't happen. And in the future, they won't. I've got a plan for you. You took your beautiful jewels, made of my gold. Everything you've built, everything you use, God made it, God did it, God gave it. Every steel, every metal, every alloy, that's earth, not yours. You might have burned it, painted it, primed it, bent it, but it's by God. That material comes from God's material. Where's his royalty check? You put your name on what it's only God's. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. I'd given you. I made for yourself. God made these things, not for us to worship those things, idolize those things, give credit to those things. Wisdom is of the Lord. Strength is of the Lord of hosts, Sabaoth. But you, the things which he had given him, you made for yourself male images with which you continue to prostitute yourself. You took your embroidered clothing and covered them. You set my olive oil and my incense in front of them. Yeah, idol worship. You gave your incense and your fragrance to anything but to God. It was reserved for God, as was your virginity. And you took my food, which I had given you, my flying fowl, olive oil and honey, that I had given you to eat, and set it in front of them. You ever been to a Hindu temple? You ever see the things they sit in front of, statues that they carved and painted and covered? That is how it was, says Adonai Elohim. Moreover, your sons and your daughters, whom you bore me, you took and sacrificed for them to devour. Were these fornications of yours a casual matter? Killing my children? I'm a survivor of an almost abortion. Thankfully, my mother made the right choice. The choice that God says, choose life. You've prostituted your children to Hollywood. You sell them to all kinds of indoctrination of the collegiate academic system. You don't school them at home. They are schooled away from home by teachers that God did not give them. But you turned them over to that because you needed a bigger house. You didn't want to live a little simpler to raise your own children, then complain about those who are raising your children. You did it. Handing them over and setting them apart from these idols. You see, God gave that responsibility to parents. The first commandment were to fathers and mothers. Hell's going to be busted wide open. And it's not by who you think is number one in line for it. Parents are first. Parents. Second are the priests and prophets that he's talking about here. Because they were an afterthought. God designed this world for fathers and mothers to raise their children in the Lord. When man fell, he gave them priests to help to come alongside that. To help teach the family to focus on God's family. But then you sold yourself, wanted to be like other nations. Wanted man's mark, man's certificate, man's diploma. And all for what? Money, status. Weren't willing to make the sacrifice. Weren't willing to go through the desert. Wanted to go back to Egypt where you had figs and all of that. But you had your freedom and manna, water from the rock, quail from the sky. But it wasn't enough. In all your disgusting practices and fornications, you never remembered the condition you were in when you were young. You see, when love was young, it was bloodied, stupid, helpless, ignorant of its environment. Needed something to pick it up, wash it off, nurse it, feed it, protect it, guard it. But you forgot that it was the Lord that picked you up. You'll give everybody the glory but God. You didn't remember the condition you were in before you were young, naked, exposed, and wallowing in your own blood. So after all this wickedness of yours, woe, woe to you, says Adonai Elohim. You built platforms and made yourself high places in every open space. You built your high places at every street corner, turning your beauty into an abomination, spreading your legs for everyone and every passerby, multiplying your acts of fornication. You had sex with your big-membered Egyptian neighbors and engaged in fornication over and over just to provoke me. And you thought Pornhub was bad. So now I've stretched out my hand over you, daughters of the Pelishim, who find your lewd behavior revolting. Walk around Los Angeles, Orange County, San Francisco, anywhere in this state, anywhere in this country. Go to Israel and watch how they are no different now than they were then than we are here in the U.S. Go to Tel Aviv. Naked, perfumed, prostitutes, whorish, run, jump, fitness, sex, sex, sex. What's new? Nothing. And just as that is not new, nor is the judgments of God new, I suggest you read what he does when this cycle comes around. Still unsatisfied, you acted like a whore, also with the people of Asher. Yes, you fornicated with them, but you weren't satisfied. So you multiplied your acts of fornication with the land of the traders, the Kasdim, but still you weren't satisfied. You were so weak-willed, says Adonai Elohim. You do all these things behaving like a shameless whore, building your platforms on every street corner, making your high places in every open space. And yet, you aren't like a whore because you scorn getting paid. I used to say, those who know me in Orange County, the difference between Orange County and L.A., when the prostitutes of Los Angeles come down to Orange County, lily white conservative Orange County, they have to go back to L.A., that cesspool of a sick city, because there people will pay for the prostitutes. And Orange County, forget it. They give it away for free here, not even getting paid. Worse than a whore and a prostitute, for the thrill of it. Here is a wife who commits adultery, who goes to bed with strangers instead of her husband. But also, instead of receiving gifts like every other normal prostitute, you give the gifts to your lovers. You bribe them to come to you from all over the place and have sex with you. You are the opposite of the other women. You solicit the fornication. You aren't solicited. And you pay them to do it. They don't pay you. You're the opposite. I've walked through this place. I'm treated worse by the Christians than I'm ever treated by the non-Christians. There's nothing worse than those that claim to know the Lord. Those that attend churches and say they believe in God. Those that say they're people of God as Jesus. These things that you do, they didn't even do in Sodom and Gomorrah. Those cities that I burned will rise up as a testimony against you. Oh, you are a wicked and perverse generation. You Jews and Christians, you are no different. Nothing's changed, just the same human. All right. All right, you whore. Listen to the word of Adonai. Adonai Elohim says, because your filth has been poured out and your privates exposed through your acts of fornication with your lovers, and because of all the idols of your disgusting practices, and because of the blood of your children, you love abortion. You have the governor of California running billboards across America using Jesus' quotes to justify killing babies. Therefore, look, I am going to gather all your lovers to whom you have been so very nice, all the ones you hate, right along with all the ones you love. I will gather them against you from all over the place and expose your private parts to them, so that they will see you completely naked. I will pronounce on you the sentence that applies to women who commit adultery and murder. Who is he saying this to? You, who are actually not prostitutes. You who actually claim the name of the Lord. You who were given the assignment, found by God, rescued by God, redeemed by God. You. Why do you all play with Father? Why do you play? I will pronounce on you the sentence that applies to those women. I will bring on you the death decreed for furious jealousy. Police officers will tell you the most dangerous call is a domestic violence call. The likelihood that they'll get shot, killed, injured, a domestic violence call in the midst of lovers' heated fights of jealousy and betrayal. Yes, I will hand you over to them, and they will make a ruin of your platforms, tear down your high places, strip you of your clothes, take away your jewels, leave you naked and exposed. They will also bring up a mob against you, who will stone you to death and hack you to pieces with their swords. They will burn your houses to the ground, execute judgment. That sounds like the sacking of Jerusalem, remember that? Against you in the presence of many women. Over 1 million died in that sacking of Jerusalem by the foreign armies. I will make you stop fornicating, and you will never again pay for a lover. Yes, I will satisfy my fury against you, but after that my jealousy will leave you, and I will calm down and no longer be angry, because you didn't remember the condition you were in when you were young, but enraged me with all these things. Therefore, I will bring the consequences of your ways on your own head, says Adonai Elohim. Return to your first love. Have you forgotten when you first repented, gave your life to the Lord? You've forgotten when love was young, haven't you? You committed these obscenities in addition to all your other disgusting practices. Everyone who quotes Proverbs will quote the proverb against you, like mother, like daughter. Yes, you are your mother's daughter, who despises her husband and children. You are the sister of your sisters, who despise their husbands and children. Your mother was a Hittite, your father an Amorite. Moreover, your oldest sister is Shamron, who lives at your left. She and her daughters, and your younger sister living at your right is Sodom with her daughters. You didn't merely live by their ways and act according to their disgusting practices, but in a very short time you acted more corruptly than in all your ways. One thing about people who say they believe in God, come from God, rather the Jew or the Christian, nobody can sin like they sin. They double down on it. It would have been better never to have known him. As I live, says Adonai, your sister Sodom has not done, neither she nor her daughters, as much evil as you have done, you and your daughters. The crimes of your sister Sodom were pride and gluttony. She and her daughters were careless and complacent, yes, so that they did nothing to help the poor and the needy. They were arrogant and committed disgusting acts before me, so that when I saw it, I swept them away. Shamron did not commit even half as many sins as you did. Yeshua said this in the New Testament. You committed many more disgusting acts than your sisters. In fact, in comparison with all the disgusting acts you have committed, your sisters, in fact, they seem more innocent. But you too must bear your disgrace. For by your passing judgment that your sisters were innocent, through your having committed sins worse than theirs, they are shown to be more righteous than you. So be ashamed. Bear the disgrace you deserve for making your guilty sisters seem innocent. How many Christians have I known in this state and in this country? My Lord, I've seen the devil's people with more boldness than so many of you for God. I worked for a Jewish man who has a mezuzah on his door, goes to temple, and that's the one molesting employees, affairs, being sued over illicit affairs. The Jew. The Christian are even worse. Those stories are too many to tell. What have you done? You think God's a joke. You never read the whole text, and you don't even know what you're reading when you do read. Blind guides. You have brought all of this on yourself with your depravities and disgusting practices, says Adonai. For here is what Adonai Elohim says, I will do to you as you have done. You treated the oath with contempt by breaking the covenant. What are they saying about the president they are prosecuting? No one's above the law. Funny, those that are saying it think they are above the law. Don't worry. Let me say to all of you, no one's above God's law. You can bribe man's law. You can stack and pack the courts. You can plant the jury or intimidate them. But when it comes to Adonai Elohim, can't be bribed, can't be bought, can't be broke, can't be bent. Judgment's coming. Nevertheless, I will remember the covenant I made with you when you were a girl, and will establish an everlasting covenant with you. Then you will remember your behavior, and you will be ashamed of it as you receive your older and younger sisters and make them your daughters, even though the covenant with you does not cover that. Did you hear what I just said? It's not even in the covenant. But I'm going to cover that. The earthquake hit, the flood came, the fires, the hurricane. The insurance agent comes by and he tells you what's not covered. You already know that you're paying the minimum. You already know what it doesn't cover. But then Adonai comes by after the insurance agent left. And he goes, what's the status? I'm not covered. You're covered. You're covered. You're covered. There's no amount too high, no wall too wide, no grave too deep. You're covered. I am Adonai Elohim, not because of you. Don't you get it? I got that. Even though that's not in the covenant. And I will reestablish my covenant with you. Then you will know that I am Adonai, so that you will remember and be so ashamed that you will never open your mouth again. So ashamed will you be when I have forgiven you all that you have done, says Adonai Elohim. Repent. God has had enough. That's when things are gonna start to get rough. When God has had enough, that's when things are gonna start to get rough. Hurtful and painful and broken and shameful and humble and lonely and angry and tearful and sadly needless to help you. Deceitful, the truth you've abandoned, the love you abandoned, so flat on your back, down on your knees, open your eyes, so in your heart you will see, call on Him, Elohim. When God has had enough, that's when things are gonna start to get rough. When God has had enough, you should turn before things start to get rough. Before the fire destroys the sword and the blood, curses and plagues, the droughts and the flood. Your enemy invading, no peace is crying, everyone's dying. You hope that you're trying it, though you keep trying, you can't stop trying, you keep denying. God is the one, your hope in the one, Alpha, Omega, beginning and no other one, no other one. You're holy and mighty, Alpha, Omega, first and the last, beginning and end. Who have I but you? You depend on to rescue me, deliver me, reach me. Oh Lord. I'm calling on you. God has had enough. He's had enough. When God has had enough, things get rough. When God has had enough. When God has had enough, things get rough. When God has had enough. When God has had enough, things get rough. When God has had enough. When God has had enough, things get rough. When God has had enough, get ready. When God has had enough, things get rough. Boastful and prideful, lustful and sinful, so violent, confusing, greedy for money. So judgment is needed to help you see fully the truth you've abandoned, the love you remanded. Flat on your back, down on your knees, open your eyes so your heart will receive. Call on the Master, Maker, Creator, Abba, Elohim. Enough. When God has had enough, you gotta get ready. When God has had enough, it's too late. When God has had enough, it's too late. When God has had enough,
too late.